This is video 3 of I don't know how many, but probably 4, where I go over the story presented in the Warning's second album, Queen of the Murder Scene. I shall proceed assuming you have seen the first 2 videos. Last we left off, the Queen, who is the protagonist of the story, manifested an alternate personality to whom she can offload the guilt for the murder that she committed. As a result, that alter ego, to which I will refer to as the evil side, is precisely the type of person who would do what the Queen did. An unscrupulous and unapologetic murderer. In the previous song, called The Sacrifice, the evil side tried to convince the Queen that the darkness dwelling inside, the very reason for the Queen's homicidal outburst, will only grow. The evil side kindly offered to take over that burden, as well as the guilt plaguing the Queen. Now I should probably make a disclaimer here before I get started. In interpreting the next few songs, I will touch upon the topic of self-harm, and also violent murder, but we don't seem to be making disclaimers about that. Anyway, in the next song, called Sinister Smiles, the evil side's kind offer becomes an aggressive demand. As you can see, the text on this page is thoughtfully split between red and black. The Queen's words are in red, and the evil side's words are in black. Simple. The scene is set with the first verse, as is the point of the first verses in general. Hey little girl, there's something you don't know. You have nothing left but this body you control. That's the evil side talking to the Queen. But what is she talking about? What else is there besides one's body? Well, one's mind. The evil side claims she has overtaken the Queen's mind. And to keep it short, the Queen then tries to dismiss that, but as it turns out, she's indeed a prisoner to the evil side in her own mind. As a side note, I am fairly confident that this bit here, Sinister Smiles shut me up and they opened up their mouths to say, should be in red. This follows up the Queen's sentence, and it makes no sense for the evil side to finish it, saying that she, the evil side, got shut up by the Sinister Smiles. If you think I'm wrong, please let me know. Alright, we can say that the Sinister Smiles are voices in the Queen's head, which are presumably echoes of the evil side or something along those lines. They don't seem to have their own personalities. They chant, break, break, just break apart. And in the song that's repeated quite a bit. So there we have it. The scene is, the evil side has the Queen trapped and she's trying to break her. Meaning she's trying to convince the Queen to relinquish control of her body. The only thing she still has control over. In the next verse, do you feel satisfied? Have you quenched the hunger that was still dormant inside? This is the evil side trying verbal manipulation no jutsu technique to convince the Queen that it's a good idea to give up. Because, presumably, the answer is no. The hunger has not been quenched. That hunger being the darkness referred to in the previous song, and if you're with me on my interpretation, the darkness that has been part of the Queen this whole time. Then we have a promise. The evil side says that she won't let the Queen get hurt. But she also reminds the Queen what will happen if she refuses the evil side. You will never get to walk away from all the horrors and the pain that moves us forward. You have just found out what it's like to live a lie. The first part says that without the evil side to carry the Queen's burden, well, the Queen will have to live with it, won't she? The last line about living a lie, I think, refers to the Queen's other pain. The pain of her newly found dark desires, which she continues to avoid. The Queen has found out what life is like for a compulsive murderer who refuses to kill. It's the same lie referred to in the previous song, which I already talked about. The Queen then decides to one-up the evil side by saying, my hands, your blood, won't let you win, which is exactly what you are thinking. The Queen is threatening suicide. She is cut off by the evil side, however, which is a really cool details, with the words, but darling, you can barely take much more. Then there's some gloating, and the Queen finally gives in with the words, I'm not a fool, there's nothing left for me. Do what they say, or else there will be hell to... And she is once again interrupted by the evil side with what I believe to be instructions. Pay the price and grab the dagger, cut through skin and stain the water. Which is a bit confusing, because the Queen just threatened the evil side with suicide, and now the evil side is instructing the Queen to go cut herself? But I believe that's just it. The Queen threatened with death, while the evil side demands pain and blood, but no death. There are also those red marks that look like watercolor paint, but were perhaps meant to represent blood, to show us that the queen did indeed give up and follow the instructions. The song finishes with, "And for what it's worth, you never live until you die," which doesn't help with the earlier confusion about the suicide threats, but I believe the evil side is referring to a metaphorical death here. As in, once the queen gives up, she will have no agency. That can be viewed as a form of death. And that's how this line makes sense too. The queen won't get to live her life with all the guilt and dark thoughts in her mind, not unless she leaves them for someone else to deal with. And here, in the art of the song, we can see the queen being taken over by darkness, where I appreciate that instead of painting gradual, smooth darkening, they went with wild, erratic scrabbles. It's violent, careless. It represents the evil side quite well, I think. It's worth noting that the actual song repeats some of the text after this line, but it's a repeat, so again, it's likely done for musical reasons. At the end of the song, however, Danny, who is portraying the evil side, declares a few times, "I have done no wrong." What that refers to exactly, I don't know. I don't know why the evil side would concern herself with the concepts of right or wrong at all. Perhaps what the evil side is talking about is forcing the queen to break. Perhaps that is an act that the evil side feels is wrong but does not believe is wrong. So she's repeating, "I have done no wrong," to herself. She does seem to at least somewhat care about the queen, at least judging by one of the next songs, where the evil side states to the queen, "I don't want to destroy you," but more on that in a bit. It could also be that since the evil side and the queen share a noggin, the queen feels like what the evil side is doing is wrong and the evil side knows about it, due to, same noggin. So she, the evil side, feels the need to oppose that notion. Perhaps she actually believes that she's helping the queen in her own twisted way. If so, however, she has a very poor way of showing it, as we can see in the next song. Before we get there, a fun fact. Sinister Smiles is one of only 2 songs on this album where the music and lyrics credits state "The Warning," rather than listing the names of the 3 sisters. This likely means that they got help from other people on the team, but it was either most people on the team or it was simply too hard to keep track of who assisted with what, so they decided to credit everyone for this song. The next song is called "Though Knives Cut Better," and it's the reason I leaned so heavily on the whole "the evil side wants the queen to cut herself" angle. Because now that the evil side is in control, that's exactly what she does. She cuts herself and by extension the queen. As per Vlog 25, the band says that this song shows the queen being taken over the evil side, who is coming out of the cocoon and turning it into her own thing. The way I like to interpret that is the evil side is trying out the controls of this new body she gets to play with. That's one reason she's cutting herself. It would be a useful motor function to get used to for later. Okay, this song is terrifying. A psychological horror through and through, because this song is from the point of view of the queen, who is stuck in her body and unable to control it while the evil side is mutilating her. That's messed up. And of course, I love it. Which is weird. My mom did hug me when I was a child. I don't know why I'm like this. Anyway, I am once more strongly tempted to go over every single line of the lyrics, but I shall resist. Instead, let's focus on the highlights of the first verse. The queen is in the aforementioned situation, and she's asking the following questions to no one in particular. Tell me why. Tell me how. Then ends the verse with, "My blood ain't spilling red, I'm freaking out," with underscore here. Yeah, I'd be freaking out as well. The blood not spilling red represents the queen not being in control. Next, probably my favorite line of the song, "feeling for nothing at all." Why is it probably one of my favorite lines of this song? Why, thank you for asking. Me? Because she is feeling for nothing at all. She is noting her lack of empathy and sympathy. And that's written on a piece of newspaper. That thing we used to use to find out what's happening with other people and in other places. What an amazing choice. So technically, the evil side held up her end of the bargain, I guess. She did promise you take over those things. Then the queen goes on to say that she's found out that dull knives cut better, which I have a bit of trivia about, but I'll get to that in a bit. The scarlet letters are likely the cuts she inflicts on herself, or the evil side inflicts on her, if you make the distinction. Don't know what I'm feeling anymore, I think, is an extension of feeling for nothing at all, which is also why she's continuing with cause I found out, etc., etc. The whole thing is connected. Her feelings, likely physical or otherwise, don't function the way they used to. Okay, trivia time. It's easier to cut yourself with a dull knife, but that's not because dull knives cut better. It's because they cut worse. So if you're trying to cut something, you have to apply more force, because the knife doesn't cut well. And if your hand slips, which is more likely to happen because the knife is dull and it doesn't take purchase in whatever you're trying to cut very well, the knife can slide on your hand, and even though it's dull, the force with which you push the knife is often enough to cut through the soft human flesh. I worked in a kitchen. It's possible that Paulina, who is the only person credited with the lyrics of the song, heard about that but not the details, and thought it was a general statement. It's also possible that the queen/evil side prefers dull knives because it's harder to cut with them, which the evil side would find more exciting. So cutting better doesn't mean cutting more effectively, but rather a preferred type of cutting. Or it could mean that it hurts more. I don't know, I've never tried it. Perhaps it's just a psychological thing, because the evil side is trying to further break the queen by torturing her on top of getting used to the controls of the new body. I don't know, it could be anything. I only have trivia. Anyway, if there's any credence to the torturing into utter submission idea, well, it's working. The next lines are needles piercing through my brain, slowly inflicting the pain, which indicates some sort of pain taking a hold over the queen's mind. Mind, not body, important distinction. The result is what the rest of the verse says. To keep it short, the queen realizes that she, by her words, can't take it back now. Also, pain ripping up my skin in a song about dull knives cutting well is somewhat disturbing, but nowhere near as much as the following soul-crunching lines, and I cannot do them enough justice, but tell me how. Am I supposed to understand? Oh, help me. Tell me why. I hate to live like this. Can't save me now. Oof. Oof. You know, I think I'll go with the torture interpretation here. The outcome's forced. Okay, two cool bits before I move on to the next song. First, in the end, the line slowly inflicting the pain has morphed into slowly increasing the pain, which, yeah, also fits with torture. It also implies that the pain not only remains, but it also grows. Second, I'm plucking roses, but keeping the thorns explains the process that is happening in the song with just 2 lines. The evil side is getting rid of the good stuff by plucking the roses, but she's keeping the bad stuff by keeping the thorns. That's why in the art the queen is covered in bloodied thorn vines, which are presumably rose stems, but I don't think they bend like this. Regardless, it is, once again, a wonderful image that captures the essence of the song. It also shows the queen being bound by those thorny vines. Ah, so good. In the next song, as per vlog 25 and my understanding of that vlog, the evil side is controlling the body at full capacity, meaning she's already used to being in control. After dull knives, she has also further subdued the queen, so she feels unstoppable and is finally showing her true colors. The song is called Queen of the Murder Scene. In the art of this page, we have a crown made out of knives, a fitting ornament for a self-proclaimed Queen of Murder, and it looks fantastic. There's also a lot of red, which I believe signifies blood, even though some of it looks like watercolor paint. There's also some coffee here, which is interesting. I think they added that as a nod to how energetic the song is. Coffee gives energy, the song gives energy. Perfect. Also, I have a pet theory, which means it's a massive stretch and I don't have anything good enough to support it. But I think it's neat, so I'll share it. The black splashes signify the evil side and the darkness within the queen. If we go with that and check the previous songs, we can see that in Crimson Queen there is no black. The page is so much cleaner than the later songs. Despite what the song is about, there is only coffee and burn mark. In the one, however, we can see some black spots are beginning to show. And I want to kill all the love that's for you, so that only mine remains. There's nothing to choose. You look at me and only me. Right next to this black splash. Interesting coincidence. There is black in Stalker, Perhaps not as much as you would have expected, but we have to remember that the evil side, and more accurately what she represents, namely murderlust, is not present in great force yet. The queen does not suffer the dark thoughts so strongly yet. Red Hands Never Fade is still before the evil side manifests, and it's also before the queen is overtaken by the darkness. It's a song about regret, guilt, and the inability to deal with that. In The Sacrifice, however, we have both the evil side being fully manifested and the dark thoughts of the queen spreading and getting stronger. Or at least that's what's alluded to. And there is so much black. Much less black and sinister smiles, but that's only if you don't count the art, which literally shows the black taking over the queen. Though Knives also doesn't have all that much black, but that kind of makes sense, since the darkness does not represent harmful thoughts towards herself, but in the song, that's what the evil side is doing, harming herself / the queen. And then, finally, the point I wanted to get to. In Queen of the Murder Scene, we have a beautiful mess of black and red, blood and madness, joined for this violent dance. Also, interestingly, there's black in Dust to Dust as well, which also makes sense. It's part of the Queen's story after all. The trend with the black continues in the next songs as well, but I'll get to that when I get to that. This cutout here must be the Japanese word korosu, which is being repeated at some point in the song and translates as kill. I imagine that's the background noise of the queen's head now that the evil side has taken over, like constant static. Like if the whistling in my ears had personality. Which is a horrifying thought, actually. Speaking of the takeover, the whole song is the evil side speaking to the defeated queen. The first line, "You don't really want to be like me," likely refers to the queen's desire to be in control of her body once more. A false pretension of being complete, because, of course, neither of them can really be complete with a fractured mind and two distinct personalities in their head. You don't really want to understand what it's like to have blood on your hands. It refers to the murder lust that both the queen and the evil side share. If the queen is in control, she will eventually spill blood, at least according to the evil side. And here, the evil side says that the queen doesn't really want that. But hey, I thought the queen already has blood on her hands. There was a whole song about that too. Yes, I suspect the evil side refers to one of two things. First, if we make the separation between the two personalities, the queen manifested the evil side so she can carry the burden of the murder of her love interest. Therefore, perhaps their headcanon is that the evil side killed the love interest, not the queen. The second possibility is that the evil side is talking about intentional murder, since the love interest fiasco was an accident. In the second verse, the evil side is gloating. I'll skip going over that for brevity's sake. This next bit, which is the chorus, tells us that the queen is still trying to fight the evil side. That is what prompts the evil side to say, "And I don't wanna destroy you." Then she also says that she, the evil side, can't be controlled by anything. But she also has the fighting spirit with the words, "But let's see you try." On the note of the evil side not wanting to destroy the queen, it's possible that she simply can't, but she wants the queen to feel threatened by the possibility of being destroyed. So she pretends that she simply doesn't want to do it. I see no indication either way, so I'll leave that interpretation up to you. But for me, given that the evil side was brutally honest in the chorus of The Sacrifice, at least as per my interpretation, I'll believe her here. Then she continues to toot her own horn and present her megalomaniac level of delusions. You can always kill what's immortal, but it just doesn't apply to me. So here we have, she believes that she can kill immortal stuff and states it as a matter of fact. She then refers to herself as being immortal, and at the same time states that even though immortal things can be killed, that's not true for her. I'd say the evil side thinks she's the next best thing since humanity learned how to harness fire, but she probably thinks she's hotter than that. The part where she says, "I'm a machine, no emotion," perfect scene for the murder queen, could refer to, well, the obvious, a murder scene which the evil side is a queen of. But I think at this point of the song, that's not it. I think she says that being a machine and having no emotions is the perfect condition to be a murder queen. One of the definitions of the word scene being the place where some action or event occurs. So the place would be a machine with no emotions, and the action would be the manifestation of a murder queen. So basically, the evil side is the perfect fertile ground for a proficient murderer to grow. However, this bit here highlighted in red, where she says it again, and oh god, that sent shivers down my spine when I first heard it. In the song, when Danny sings, "I'm a machine, no emotions," there are screams in the background, which indicates that, quite possibly, this time the evil side is talking about a murder scene. Also, while on the topic of additional effects, in the chorus there's whispers that go with Danny's voice, and it is absolutely bloody brilliant. I love the song. I love this song. Actually, unless I've lost it or have bad hearing, I think the whispers are there for the whole song, they're just more prominent in the chorus. Anyway, the line, "give me something worth living for," which happens just before the chorus, where the scream is heard, likely means a version of "give me something to kill." Chorosu chorosu, remember? The evil side continues to sing her murderous praises after that, so I'd say it checks out. With that, we breach the final chapter of the Queen's disturbing and tragic story. We follow with the natural escalation of the song Queen of the Murder Scene, and how the character of the Queen is morphed by those events. The story evolves, and my interpretation gradually deviates from what I would consider to be the intended events, if there even is such a thing. That, however, we'll have to wait for another video. If at the time of you watching this, the chapter 4 and finale of the story video is finished and published, there will be a link to it in the description, probably a pinned comment, and you should be able to see it on your screen right now. Cheers and take care.